This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
A lot of breaking news today. First of all, the mayor of Bell Gardens has been shot and killed. His wife is now in custody.
And more breaking news. A Covina police officer has been killed in a violent crash with an SUV. We are learning his identity. The other driver rushed to the hospital.
And for the first time, a patient is diagnosed with a dangerous Ebola virus right here in the United States. The man is being treated at a hospital in Dallas, Texas. Good evening, I'm David Ono.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News at 8 on LA56. We begin with breaking news. The mayor of Bell Gardens has been shot to death. It all stemmed over a family dispute. His wife now detained in connection with the shooting. Eyewitness News reporter Darsha Phillips is live at the scene with more on the investigation. Darsha?
Colleen, investigators are still here at the townhouse where Mayor Daniel Crespo was shot. You can still see investigators here behind me. Now his neighbors and the people who knew him are in disbelief tonight over his death. 45-year-old Crespo, according to officials, was shot by his wife, Livette, about 2:30 this afternoon at this residence here on Gage. Crespo and his wife were having some sort of argument.
All right, our apologies. Obviously, there's an issue with her microphone. We're going to get that fixed, but nevertheless, we have new information on this story. We're going to go back to the story in just a little while, but as we said, there's even more breaking news to get to today. A Covina police officer is dead after a violent collision. Tonight, we're learning more about this officer. We're also waiting for him to be transported from the hospital. And as we all know, we've seen so many police officers killed in the line of duty this year. That has a tendency of being a long procession with a great deal of ritual. We're watching that situation. Also, we understand that the officer has been identified or is going to be identified. Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell, she is live in Covina with these breaking details. Amy.
And David, we have now learned the identity of that officer who was killed in that tragic accident this afternoon. We're awaiting a news conference that's going to start in just a few minutes here at the Covina Police Department, but we do know that the officer is 28-year-old Jordan Porter. He was on the Covina Police Department for more than 7 years, and again, he was a motorcycle officer. He was out this afternoon, we're told, on routine patrol when this horrible accident happened. Now, we want to show you a scene from just a few minutes ago. Air 7 was overhead as dozens of police officers lined up next to a ambulance outside the Intercommunity Hospital, preparing for a procession, a very solemn procession, as the officer's body was removed from the hospital by the coroner. Now, the collision that killed Officer Porter happened just before 2 this afternoon at the intersection of Citrus and Puente. Authorities say he was on routine patrol traveling southbound on Citrus at Puente, and when a vehicle traveling northbound made a left turn in front of his motorcycle. Now, the officer was thrown from the motorcycle by the impact. He was rushed to Intercommunity Hospital, where he died of his injuries. Now, we know that the driver of the other vehicle was also injured, but right now we don't know anything about the nature of his injuries or his condition. So again, we are getting very close now to the start of a news conference here at the Covina Police Department. In fact, we're going to go to the podium right now.
First off, thank you for being here. Unfortunately, it's under circumstances that we do not really care to talk about as in the law enforcement field. Captain Derek Webster is going to be giving a brief statement, and it's going to be a statement only and no question or answer session regarding the situation. Captain Derek Webster.
Hello, thank you all for coming. The Covina Police Department, family, and community suffered a terrible loss today. At approximately 1:55 p.m., Jordan Porter, an officer with our department for 7 years, was on patrol riding a department motorcycle southbound on Citrus Avenue. Made a left turn, southbound on Citrus Avenue, number 1 lane. An SUV traveling northbound on Citrus Avenue made a left turn onto Puente Street in front of Officer Porter, and a collision occurred in the intersection. Officer Porter was thrown from his motorcycle. Officer Porter and the 75-year-old female driver of the SUV both sustained injuries and were treated at the scene by police officers and members of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. Both Officer Porter and the driver of the SUV were transported to Intercommunity Hospital in Covina. Sadly, Officer Porter succumbed to his injuries and passed away at 2:41 p.m. Chief Rainey is returning from out of state at this moment and has spoken to the officer's parents. The Covina Police Department has a mutual pre-existing agreement with the California Highway Patrol, and we requested they respond to handle this investigation. The CHP is investigating this incident, and because of that, I will not be making any other comments about the collision and will not be releasing the name of the other driver. The CHP are requesting that anyone who may have witnessed the collision or has any other information, please call their 24-hour number at 323-259-2010. Our hearts and prayers go out to both families involved in this tragic incident, as well as the members of the police department, city, and the community. I'd like to offer a heartfelt thank you to all the police agencies from across the Southland that are providing assistance, and to the many more that have called to offer their help. And that includes fire personnel as well. Officer Jordan Corder is a 28-year-old, hired in 2006 as a community service officer with our department and a police officer in 2007. He has received numerous awards from Mothers Against Drunk Drivers for his excellence in DUI enforcement. He was assigned to the traffic unit as a motor officer in May of 2014. Jordan grew up in Covina, graduated from Charter Oak High School, and chose to honorably serve the citizens of Covina as a police officer. Our department is grieving as a family does, in that we will help each other through this, but we will never be the same without Jordan. Thank you.
Okay, that's going to be it for the press conference. My phone number, if anybody has any questions, is 626-523.
All right, that is the end of a tearful press conference from Covina Police. You heard him, a highly emotional officer revealing the identity of Jordan Corder, a 28-year-old motorcycle officer who was killed this afternoon when he was driving along on routine patrol and an SUV turned right into his path, killing him. And what we saw an image just before this news conference began, where they were bringing out Officer Corder's body from the hospital. It is a procession that we often see when a police officer is killed, and we are over the facility now, although it's difficult to tell exactly what is going on, but I believe as we push in, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see what's going on here. I did see the flag-draped coffin, Colleen. Did you see that earlier, just before the press conference began?
I did not see it, but you do see the coroners on standby right there outside the hospital facility. And you see all the lined up of the motorcycle police officers as well in their cruisers as well as in their motorcycles. And you, as you know, you see it.
Yeah, I thought I had seen it just at the beginning of the press conference. Perhaps I'm mistaken, but we've seen this several times this year alone. So many tragic deaths when it comes to police officers. But there you see the line of officers ready to take the flag-draped coffin to the coroner's office. Perhaps they put it in that van right there, the coroner's van. But we had to break away from that procession to the press conference where we heard a little bit more about Jordan Corder. As we said, he is 28-year-old, Colleen, and he hasn't been on a motorcycle as a police officer very long.
No, in May of 2014, he was assigned to the motorcycle unit. Also, you know, he was on the Covina Police Department for 7 years, and you heard the officer very emotional talking about how he had already spoken to the chief of police chief of their fire department was coming, their police department was coming back from out of state, and he'd already notified his parents that their son had been killed on a routine patrol. Very, very sad, very dangerous, obviously, the motorcycle unit.
Right, we're going to stay on top of this story. We'll give you more as we get it.
And more breaking news tonight. Take a look at this, a big mess on the 101 freeway in Studio City. A live look from our Caltrans camera. The CHP investigating a collision that happened on the southbound 101 near Barham Boulevard. A SIG alert was issued shortly after 6 p.m. Investigators noticed smoke coming from the car and called in the LAPD bomb squad to check it out. Right now, both sides of the 101 are shut down with northbound lanes diverted traffic off at the Universal Studios off-ramp. So quite a mess right there. A lot of headaches for the drivers trying to travel in and out of this area. Also, another big story tonight, the CDC confirming the first case of the Ebola virus diagnosed here in the United States. The infected patient is being treated in an isolation unit at a hospital in Texas. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes has the details.
4 days. That's how long experts say the man in Dallas was contagious and in the U.S. population. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say Ebola can only be spread through blood and other bodily fluids or through contact with an infected needle. Health experts say those limitations and America's advanced healthcare system should mean this latest Ebola case shouldn't cause panic in the U.S.
Here in the United States, we know how to prevent the spread of these infections. So I think that people need to really understand that this is being taken care of. It's in a hospital. We're not concerned about this becoming a national problem.
Even though this is the first case of Ebola to be discovered in the U.S., health officials say they are not scrambling to catch up. Here in Southern California, the head of the Los Angeles County Health Department says the deadly disease has been on their radar for quite some time, and steps have been taken.
We've been talking with hospitals. We've been increasing our lab capacity. We've talked with our staff about identifying contacts and how we would do that. We're prepared here in LA County.
Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Health officials say an Ebola patient can only spread the disease when he is showing symptoms, so they don't believe anyone on the plane with the Dallas Ebola patient was infected. If you want to learn more about Ebola, just click over to our website, ABC7.com.
Tough gun restrictions are signed into law by Governor Brown in response to a deadly rampage near UC Santa Barbara in May. The measure allows family members to petition a judge to take away relatives' guns. The bill was introduced after May's deadly shooting and stabbing spree in Isla Vista, which left 6 people dead and 13 more injured. Supporters say this restraining order bill could help prevent similar attacks.
We know too well that the shooter in Isla Vista, Elliot Rogers, his mother could see that he was making threats, that he was a danger to himself or others.
Peter Roger, the father of the Isla Vista shooter, released a statement saying California is a safer state because of this legislation. Opponents of the measure say it could erode the gun rights of law-abiding citizens.
California Governor Jerry Brown also approved 2 bills expanding a state ban on revenge porn. One new bill clarifies the law to include selfies. Another bill allows victims of such crimes to sue for damages using a pseudonym. It's illegal to post nude pictures of someone else online without their permission and with the intent to cause emotional distress or humiliation.
And another new law signed by Governor Brown aims to be the nation's toughest in protecting students' privacy rights. The bill prohibits companies from using personal information about students for profit. It makes companies responsible for protecting any personal information they gather from elementary and high school students through websites, online applications, and other services.
A signature from the governor has now made California the first state in the nation to impose a ban on plastic grocery bags. Under the legislation, plastic bags will be phased out of large grocery stores starting next year and smaller convenience stores and pharmacies in 2016. Several cities, including Los Angeles, already have plastic bag bans in place. A jury finds a man guilty of first-degree murder in the 1994 poisoning death of his wife. Paul Curry sat motionless in the Santa Ana courtroom as the verdict was read. The jury found him guilty of killing his 50-year-old wife, Linda, to collect more than $500,000 in life insurance. Prosecutors convinced jurors Curry sedated his wife, then injected her with nicotine to kill her. Curry is due back in court October 31st when his sentencing date will be set.
Well, trapped in a cave for nearly 2 weeks. Up next, how rescue crews were finally able to pull the injured man to safety. Plus this story.
He opens his door and gets out and says, "It's going down now."
A Florida man who shot and killed a teenager during an argument about loud music speaks out in court.
Plus how you can control your voice to make yourself more attractive to the opposite sex.
All right, well, let's see. Live shot over Burbank. Beautiful night ahead tonight, but temperatures on the rise. Details on this heat wave upcoming in your 7-day forecast. Stick around.
A Spanish cave explorer is finally rescued after being trapped inside a cave for more than a week. 44-year-old Cecilia Lopez spent 12 days underground in a cave in Peru's remote Amazon region. A rescue team got him out and he was carried into a tent on a stretcher. Lopez injured himself after he fell 16 feet inside the mouth of the cave. He'll be flown by helicopter to Lima for further evaluation.
A man who shot and killed a 17-year-old teenager after an argument over loud music takes the stand in his own defense in his retrial.
He opens his door and gets out and says, "It's going down now."
Michael Dunn says he acted in self-defense when he opened fire, killing Jordan Davis outside a Jacksonville, Florida convenience store. Prosecutors say Dunn fired 10 shots into the SUV carrying Davis and 3 other teenagers. Dunn was convicted of attempted second-degree murder in February and already faces at least 60 years in prison. The jury in the first trial deadlocked on the first-degree murder count.
And a man is in custody facing charges of starting a brush fire in Ventura. When authorities arrived on the scene yesterday, they say they saw the man, later identified as Garrett Smith, running away from the area of the fire. They questioned him and later arrested him for arson. Officials said the fire is now 100% contained and will be controlled by tomorrow, or tonight that is. Nearly 50 acres burned. No structures were damaged. One firefighter suffered a minor hand injury.
Well, what a tough firefighter, but it's getting warmer.
Good that they got that under control,
Yeah.
because as we head into the next few days, fire danger is going one direction, up, unfortunately. Dry air, the 3 elements you need for real bad fire danger: dry air, hot conditions, and windy conditions are all coming together by Thursday. Let's see what's happening outside. Today was fantastic. How about this, though? We try to see the positive, right? The silver lining. This is our Running Springs time lapse of the sunset. Looks surreal. Looks like something out of a movie. Fantastic stuff today, but if you felt a little bit like the temperatures were going up, kinda, you were right. They are already starting to warm up this afternoon. 85, though, is really nice number downtown, a little bit above average. 81 is our normal for downtown. Right now we're at 71. It's a nice evening for everybody. 74 in Burbank. Pretty much clear skies for us all. It looks like a warm start to tomorrow as we get up close to 90 degrees in downtown tomorrow afternoon. We're already into that heat wave by tomorrow afternoon. 74 right now in Riverside, Fullerton, Hemet, Santa Ana, popular number down to the south, and even 74 in Burbank again. 78 Van Nuys, 77 Santa Clarita. We have the watches and warnings page already starting, folks. Heat advisory has been issued by the National Weather Service for San Bernardino, Riverside County, and Orange County. That starts Friday morning through the entire weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, heat advisory, all right? Keep that in mind. It's going to be a dangerous aspect to the forecast heading into the latter part as we go into the weekend. Also, a fire weather watch that starts midnight Thursday through Friday night. That's because winds will be gusting Thursday into Friday as high pressure really builds in and we see those Santa Ana winds kick in. There's an area low pressure that gave us the milder weather from the weekend through pretty much today, but it's really off to the east now, and high pressure is starting to take over that forecast. Those offshore winds are going to start really kicking in as we go in through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Here's that future scan. Shows you the weather pattern as we go in through Wednesday. Not too much of a shift tomorrow, but watch on Thursday that high is slowly budging to the east Thursday afternoon, and then by Thursday into Friday, it is right over us, giving us a very gusty forecast for that portion of your 7-day, and on top of it, very hot conditions and very dry conditions, i.e. fire danger. 89 in Los Angeles tomorrow for a high forecast for you. 94 in Riverside. Big changes ahead here. 85 Mission Viejo, 76 Dana Point, 70 forecast for LA Metro in Orange County. Powered up by AccuWeather tonight. Check it out. 90s already by Thursday. Very gusty. And on Friday, 95. This is downtown. 99 on Saturday. We'll cool off a bit on Sunday and Monday. But, man, it's going to be hot for the weekend, folks. Take it easy. Take it slow. And if you can, obviously, stay inside with your friend, the AC. Valleys, IE, into the triple digits on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And even into Monday. Heat wave in effect. And, again, the fire danger especially for you Thursday and Friday with those gusts coming through the canyons. Mountains, beautiful weather, just breezy and mild. 72 into 76 as you're going through Saturday and Sunday. And then the high desert. Hot stuff for the weekend for you as well. Again, watch out for those gusty conditions. 90 to 95 between Friday and Saturday. It's going to be hot, folks. Stay cool, and we'll have another check on the forecast coming up in a few minutes. For now, back to the desk.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
The makers of Viagra are looking to boost sales of the erectile dysfunction drug by taking a new advertising approach. They're using women.
It's just you and your honey. setting is perfect. But then erectile dysfunction happens again. You know what?
The new 60-second ad begins airing today and is the first time drug maker Pfizer has used a woman to talk directly to men about ED. Analysts say the move comes amid increasing competition in the ED drugs market. Studies have also shown roughly half of men over 40 suffer from ED, at least occasionally, yet only 10% take medicine regularly.
Want to know if someone's interested in you? Just close your eyes and actually listen to how they talk to you. A new study shows it's not so much what someone says, but how they say it. That might be a real sign of attraction. Researchers studied more than 200 people. They used video and sound recordings to see whether men and women actually change the timbre of their voice when speaking to an attractive or unattractive member of the opposite sex.
The higher the voice goes, the less attractive that is. It's really in the lower register. Guys are going to talk like this rather than like this in order to, draw attraction of female partners, for instance.
The findings suggest men instinctively change their pitch, first speaking in a sing-song way, then adjusting to a lower tone when they're talking to someone they find attractive.
Well, up next, we are putting the new iPhone batteries to the test.
How well do they perform? Consumer Reports checks out the 6 and the 6 Plus.
And the richest man in America loves to give away money. Tonight, Bill Gates is giving $50 million to an urgent cause.
Apple is promising better battery life with the new iPhone 6, so Consumer Reports put it to the test. Low battery life has been a weakness with older iPhones, but at its product introduction, Apple promised up to 14 hours of talk time for the iPhone 6 and up to 24 hours of talk time for the iPhone 6 Plus. In Consumer Reports lab test, the iPhone 6 delivered 10 hours of talk time and the iPhone 6 Plus about 17 hours.
That's better than the 8 hours of talk time we got with the iPhone 5S. But other phones' batteries did better in our tests.
In comparison, the LG G3 delivers about 19 hours of talk time and Samsung Galaxy S5 about 20 hours.
A split is on the way for eBay and PayPal. eBay announced today that PayPal will become a separate and publicly traded company next year, likely in the second half of 2015. The payment service PayPal was acquired by eBay in 2002, and it's become the company's fastest growing segment. Investors like the announcement, sending eBay stock up 8%.
We're updating the evening's top stories next year at 8:30, including the latest on the investigation into the shooting death of Mayor Bell Gardens.
Plus, encouraging news for fans hoping to see the NFL return to Los Angeles. Is a stadium deal still in the works?
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. But if you do need to get in, I'm sure they'll just...
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, the mayor of Bell Gardens shot and killed. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
I'm David Ona. This is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56, and that mayor's wife of nearly 30 years is now in police custody. Eyewitness News reporter Darsha Phillips is live at the scene with more on the investigation. Darsha?
David, Colleen, neighbors and people who knew Mayor Daniel Crespo in total disbelief tonight over his death. As you can see, investigators are still here at his townhouse where Daniel Crespo was shot. Now, 45-year-old Crespo, according to officials, was shot by his wife, Lavette, about 2:30 this afternoon at this residence here on Gage. Now, Crespo and his wife were having some sort of argument when their 19-year-old son, Daniel Crespo Jr., tried to intervene. The mayor and his son then got into a physical fight. Crespo's wife, according to investigators, pulled a gun and shot her husband several times in the torso. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Now, other elected officials just learning about his death are reacting to the news.
I heard it just like everybody else in the media and through residents of Bell Gardens. It's tragic. It's tragic that domestic violence has did away with our friend. Domestic violence is not acceptable.
I've known Daniel since I first got elected to City of Huntington Park Council, and that was in 2005. I actually spoke with him about less than 2 weeks ago, and he was always a very kind man around me, and it's just tragic.
Now, according to the City of Bell Gardens website, Crespo married his high school sweetheart in 1986 as a young teenager, and they have been married ever since. Now, if you can come back here live again, investigators still here at this townhouse. Now, as you mentioned, David, Crespo's wife has been detained for questioning. She has not yet been charged. We are still waiting for more information as to exactly what transpired, what led up to this shooting. As soon as we get those details, we'll bring them to you live. Reporting live from Bell Gardens, I'm Darsha Phillips, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Darsha, thank you. We now know the name of the Covina police officer killed while on routine patrol today. 28-year-old Jordan Corder was on his motorcycle when he was struck by an SUV. Corder was thrown from the motorcycle and later died at the hospital. Officers gathered at the hospital for a large procession. The other driver was rushed to the hospital with unknown injuries. Corder had been with the police department for 7 years. He grew up in Covina and went to Charter Oak High School.
Another big story at 8:30. Plans for an NFL stadium in downtown Los Angeles may still be on track after all. AEG is asking for a 6-month extension. The stadium would be located next to the convention center, but as Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda tells us, it all depends on getting a team.
The grand plan includes a 64,000-seat stadium called Farmers Field. Build it and they will come. But so far, nobody has come, and AEG is asking for more time.
We're going to do something with this convention center, whether it's a stadium or not. But since the NFL makes its decision in March, we figured that October was a pretty arbitrary deadline.
AEG wants a 6-month extension on the agreement that is set to expire on October 17th. In a statement, AEG says, "We have resumed discussions with the NFL, and while much remains to be done before a deal could come together, we remain committed to this project."
If there's an opportunity, given 6 months of additional conversation, that we might work this out, then in my opinion, it's worth it.
Wesson says the most important part of the project is the renovation of the convention center. AEG says that is part of the plan. Some feel the city, however, needs to look at that more closely in case AEG can't bring a team to Los Angeles.
So you can't just be waiting in lockstep, waiting for that decision and then find out nothing happened and then start from that point. I think you got to work on it simultaneously.
People we spoke with wonder if this will happen at all, but some are still hopeful.
I don't think we should go with AEG. I think we're waiting and nothing has happened, so we just need to keep moving and get our own football team the fastest way we can do it.
6 months is not enough. I mean, they haven't made it happen in the last 2 years, right? So what's to say 6 months is going to be sufficient?
Obviously, they're playing games, so why continue the game playing and actually not try and do something about it?
I'm Carlos Granda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And there are other proposed sites for a stadium, including one near the Forum in Inglewood, and the NFL says it's looking at all options.
A touchdown prayer led to a penalty call in last night's Monday night football game. The NFL now says that call was wrong. Hussein Abdullah dropped to his knees in prayer in the end zone after an interception in the game between the Chiefs and the Patriots. The refs threw the flag for excessive celebration, sparking a firestorm of controversy. The league later said the players shouldn't have been penalized for going to the ground as part of religious expression. Prosecutors in Nevada are urging the state Supreme Court to reject O.J. Simpson's latest attempt at freedom. In new documents, the Clark County District Attorney wrote that Simpson got a fair trial leading up to his 2008 conviction on kidnapping and armed robbery charges. Simpson says he was trying to retrieve items that had been stolen from him. The papers also say Simpson hasn't proven his trial lawyer had conflicted interests. Simpson is serving 9 to 33 years in prison and is eligible for parole in 2017. It's unclear whether the state Supreme Court will hear oral arguments in his appeal.
The Giants fan who was severely beaten in the parking lot at a Dodgers game has filed a new $3.4 million lawsuit against the Dodgers. Brian Stowe claims the team, 2 insurers, and his employer are depriving him of the medical care he needs. Stowe suffered permanent brain damage in the 2011 attack. Earlier this year, a jury awarded him roughly $18 million in his first lawsuit against the team, but now he says the Dodgers and its insurance company refused to pay for treatment at a Bakersfield facility and reduced the amount of therapy Stowe could receive annually. His family says Stowe's condition regressed as a result.
The body of a missing Arkansas real estate agent has been found. The remains of Beverly Carter were found in a shallow grave at a concrete company. It's the same company where the man suspected in her kidnapping and killing once worked. That suspect, Aaron Lewis, was arrested yesterday. Police say Lewis has confessed to kidnapping Carter but did not lead them to the body. He's being held on $1 million bail. Investigators and volunteers have been searching for Carter since she disappeared on Thursday.
The case of a Colorado man fired for using legal marijuana is now in the hands of the state's highest court. Brandon Coates argued state law protects people from being fired for off-the-clock activities as long as they are legal. But his former company argues that because pot remains illegal at the federal level, his medical marijuana use isn't covered by state law. The case is being watched closely around the country. 23 states allow medical marijuana, but so far courts have ruled against patients who have been fired for using it. And the marijuana industry in Northern California is threatening the region's salmon population. That's according to federal biologists who are now studying areas where the young fish are struggling to survive. They say pot growers are illegally withdrawing water from creeks, as well as spreading fertilizer and pesticides that poison the water left behind. Marijuana in that region is grown both legally for medical purposes and illegally for the black market.
The richest man in America, Bill Gates, with a net worth of $81 billion, is known for giving away billions to help others around the world. Tonight, his biggest gift ever. ABC's David Muir has the story.
Tonight, the richest man in America, once again now topping the Forbes 400, and tonight on top of our headquarters, overlooking New York.
Do you check to see if your name is still on the top?
I'm sure somebody would tell me when I start falling down. I'm not giving it away fast enough is the problem.
Not giving it away fast enough, he told me. Bill Gates is now worth $81 billion. He added $9 billion over the last year. But here's the number that caught our eye. Bill and Melinda Gates' wife have given away $35 billion since 1994. We did the math. That's about $4,859,000 every day. And tonight, right here, he talks about his biggest emergency grant ever, $50 million to fight Ebola.
This gift to fight Ebola, how important do you think it is that the world get involved in this fight?
Well, the disease is out of control in the 3 countries right now.
We saw Dr. Besser and those exclusive pictures earlier, the beds filled with the sick.
Bill, when you see those images emerging from the Ebola wards, what concerns you most?
The horrific fact of people dying of Ebola, but also the whole health system is shut down.
A health system he and his wife Melinda are determined to help build. Bill Gates grew up in Seattle. He was the one who organized the family competitions, reading with his siblings at an early age.
There are a lot of board games in your house. Do you remember the favorites?
We played a lot of cards. We played Monopoly.
It's safe to say he won.
You were reading the encyclopedia.
I had a world book, right.
But it was something else that caught his eye.
You were 13 when you first started showing an interest in computers?
Well, I was very lucky to get a chance to use one when I was 13, yes.
And that was it? That was the moment?
I got somewhat addicted, you bet.
Addicted, and it paid off. The founder of Microsoft.
I'm Bill Gates, chairman of Microsoft.
The old videos making us smile, and tonight the new ones too. This one on his deck at his home in Seattle, proving even the richest man in the world isn't afraid to take the plunge.
Who came up with that contraption?
A friend of mine said, these are all going to look the same.
But not Bill Gates. Tonight his focus is Ebola, and he has hope. He says we can contain it.
I think over the next 60 days we will get on top of it.
You do. With your help. All right.
Yep.
Wow. Again, that was ABC's David Muir reporting.
I love his confidence about Ebola and getting it under control, but the ability to give away $5 million a day.
That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah. Well, more news still to come. Cruise ship passengers scramble as their vessel runs aground.
Up next, where the boat carrying more than 100 people declared an emergency and why it could have been much worse.
You know, this is Jonathan Novak here. Beautiful day. People taking advantage down in Disneyland of the fantastic weather. But you know what? It is going to get hot. Heat wave in full effect in that 70 forecast. Stick around.
Pictures show a South Korean cruise ship that ran aground off the nation's southwestern coast, forcing all 109 people on board to be rescued. Another cruise ship and a small fishing boat came to its aid today. The cause of the grounding is being investigated. Coast Guard video shows the 171-ton ship being towed. It ran aground after sailing around Hongdo Island. The boat accident follows the South Korea ferry tragedy in April that left more than 300 people dead or missing.
Here at home, local officials want to make sure that you are ready for an emergency. That's the goal of National Emergency Preparedness Day. At Western Medical Center in Santa Ana, they rolled out the latest in emergency equipment. Western Medical is a regional trauma center, and today they brought together hospital staff and public safety agencies for a drill. The goal is to train personnel on how to respond to natural and man-made disasters. In addition to earthquakes and wildfires, the new training includes biochemical attacks and virus epidemic response.
We want viewers to know that they should take every step they can at their home, their business, and in their car to be prepared in the case of a disaster, to not only prepare themselves, to be able to survive.
Organizers say in the post-9/11 world, being prepared is essential.
If laughter is the best medicine, then TV host Tom Bergeron offered up a giant dose of the good stuff today at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Children and their families were invited to enjoy a few laughs at the hospital's Teen Lounge with a sneak preview of America's Funniest Home Videos premiere episode. Bergeron spent time with the kids, was on hand to take some selfies, signed autographs, and dropped off a special version of this show that will air on Children's Hospital's in-house network.
We don't often get the chance to see kids' eyes light up and the laughter that all these crazy videos bring out. And it's, I feel like I'm getting the big reward for being here today.
America's Funniest Home Videos kicks off its 25th season this Sunday night on ABC7.
Well, up next, Jonathan Novak's steamy forecast.
Plus, the Dodgers and Angels both get set for their postseason coming up. We hear from the clubs as they begin preparations.
And UC Irvine students come together today to try to break a record, how they did in their massive pillow fight. All right, this is a live picture of the 101 near Lancashire, but the latest information that we are getting is the northbound lanes of the 101 are open. That's where you see the white or the light coming through. Those cars are moving once again, although a bit bogged down because of the problems. The southbound lanes of the 101, that's what you see on the right-hand side. There is no light whatsoever. It is dark and barren, and that's because there are no cars there because it remains closed at Vineland. There was an accident. Apparently, police found some suspicious material within the wreckage, and as a result, they shut down the freeway, brought in the bomb squad. Once again, northbound is now reopened. Southbound remains closed. Avoid this area if you can. It's right by Universal Studios.
All right, now switching gears, let's talk about our forecast where we're expected to get some heat.
Yeah, heat wave is already on. It was already warmer today. By the way, I got to mention, my grandma this past weekend turned 100.
Oh, it's amazing.
I want to wish her a happy birthday, birthday, Grandma.
What great genetics you have.
Yeah, well,
seriously.
That's one side of the family. We'll see how I did. So happy birthday to her. That was this past weekend. I was home in Boston and celebrating at home. There's pictures on my Facebook page, by the way, ABC7 Jonathan, if you want to check that out. Okay, and outside tonight, it is fantastic. Can we not say, at least tonight, the weather is not only bearable, but pleasant. Dry conditions, live Mega Doppler 7000 HD, live sweep heading around. And yeah, we're dry. In fact, the really dry conditions are going to be one of the elements that play into the fire danger in the forecast, which we'll see in a second. 71 in Long Beach at the moment, all the way into Riverside. We're at 74. Beautiful evening right now. 66, I should say, in Oxnard. 86, there we go, Palm Springs. 71 in downtown Los Angeles, where temperatures are going to be near 90 tomorrow already. Let's zoom out. I'll paint the picture of what's happening on the large scope weather-wise. We have an area low pressure that's pulling away up to the north-northeast of us. That was what gave us the nice weather over the weekend into Monday. Today was hotter as high pressure started to build in. It's going to slide to the east over the next few days. And as it does that, those winds are going to turn offshore even more and more. And by Thursday, very gusty conditions, plus the dry weather and the hot temperatures mean fire danger. Check it out on the future winds. I start you off tomorrow night through Thursday morning. I stopped this at 8 a.m. Already gusty winds around Riverside into Palm Springs and the mountains there in Riverside and San Bernardino counties, and also up toward LA and Ventura counties, too, around Ojai down to Oxnard. Gusty winds up to 20 to 30 miles an hour. Those last through Thursday at 2 p.m. That's also when very hot weather comes into play, Thursday afternoon through the weekend. As a result, we have heat advisories in effect for San Bernardino and Riverside counties and for Orange County. And on top of that, up for LA and Ventura counties, we have a fire weather watch ahead as we go in through Thursday, Friday, and even into Saturday. Most likely we'll see a red flag warning issued, but we'll have to wait and see. But it looks like Thursday, Friday, the best chances for that. So the day planner tomorrow, let me get you through the morning. 71 by 9 a.m., mid-80s by noon, and then highs topping out tomorrow near 90 degrees in Los Angeles. And by the afternoon on Thursday and Friday, we're into the 90s in your 7-day forecast for LA and for Orange County as well. 95 on Friday, 99 on Saturday, down to 91 on Sunday. For the valleys, i.e., when LA downtown warms up, look at this. You'll see your temperatures all the way into the triple digits Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Very hot weather, very hot for downtown LA and into the high desert. The mountains in the mid-70s, breezy, dry, but great for the mountains. The high desert getting hot on Friday as well. Stay tuned for the whole week. We're going to keep you posted on this heat wave. For now, back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
2014 Major League Baseball playoffs have officially begun. Oakland is in Kansas City for the wild card matchup and the right to move on to the divisional round. And we will have your full highlights of the game at Eyewitness News at 11 p.m. And whoever wins between the Royals and the Athletics will be at the Big A this Thursday night to take on the Angels. The Halos welcome the break in action as they still have a few players rehabilitating injuries. And Josh Hamilton, who has missed all but one game since September 5th, is expected to be in the lineup when the playoffs start.
You know, there's a time to be smart and patient, and there's a time to, you know, just do what you got to do to get back and play and help the team.
Anytime you're in the postseason is fun, whether you're in St. Louis or Kansas City or here or anywhere. I mean, that's what you play for, to bring the title to the city of Anaheim, and hopefully we can accomplish that goal.
The Dodgers, meanwhile, know who they are playing in the NLDS, and once again they take on St. Louis. When the Cardinals come to the Ravine on Friday, it'll mark the 4th series in the last 6 Dodger postseason visits. And LA has not fared well, losing 2 of the last 3 meetings. But for the first time since 2009, they will host the Cards to start the series. And finally today, the Raiders have announced Tony Sparano will take over head coaching duties on the interim basis. He replaces Dennis Allen, who was fired yesterday after the team's disappointing 0-4 start this season. Sparano is the 8th head coach the Raiders have had in the last 12 years, and he last was a head coach with the Miami Dolphins. That was back in 2011.
UC Irvine attempts a Guinness World Record for the largest pillow fight. Thousands of students showed up, pillows in hand, to get in on the fun. Eyewitness News Orange County reporter Greg Lee shows us if they were able to break the record.
This sea of college students isn't here for a pep rally or football game. They're here to break a Guinness World Record. More than 4,000 UC Irvine students arm themselves with pillows with the hope of staging the world's largest pillow fight.
I think it's amazing, and it's challenging, and I think it brings a lot of school spirit to everybody.
Classes for the Anteaters don't actually start until Thursday. This mob of mostly freshmen and first-year transfer students were welcomed to campus with a tradition unlike any other.
It was crazy. It was awesome. See, so many people out here to support UCI.
And to have some fun hitting each other with pillows. Per Guinness rules, the pillow fight lasted a full 60 seconds. And after all the official tabulating was done,
the largest pillow fight is 4,200. So you've beaten the current world record of 3,813. Congratulations.
This is UCI's 50th upcoming year, so it's a huge milestone for UCI. And just setting it off with another world record, I think it's really cool. It sets it up for the future years to keep breaking world records like this.
University officials say the school now owns 3 world records. The world's largest dodgeball game, the world's largest water gun fight, and now the world's largest pillow fight.
I'm pretty excited. It took all summer to plan this. I'm really glad it paid off. Really glad it paid off.
We'll just have to wait and see what record they try to break next year. Reporting in Irvine, Greg Lee, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
What a fight.
I know. Well, stay with us. More news straight ahead here at 8:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Fireworks on Capitol Hill. New information surfacing about the Secret Service and what is next for them. Plus, fists start flying on a city bus. Why a passenger attacked the driver while the bus was still moving. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast. Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
Two new breeds are joining the pack next year at the famous Westminster Kennel Club show. One is the wire-haired Vizsla, a hunting dog developed to withstand the cold winters and rough terrain of northern Hungary. The other is the Coton de Tuileries, known as the Royal Dog of Madagascar. The little white dog became a popular companion in the island's aristocracy and French colonists. Breeds are added to the show after being recognized by the American Kennel Club. There are now 180 recognized AKC breeds.
And that is our report for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56.